Hey Cal fans, it's time for the last football film study of the 2018 season, and in this video we're going to talk about interceptions. Obviously in the bowl game there were a lot of them, and there were at least 2 or 3 schematic issues that were driving them, so to keep things simple, I'm going to focus on 2 interceptions that can be traced back to one basic problem. All of the plays that we'll see here will focus on how we were attacking TCU's cornerbacks down the sidelines. As I've mentioned in several places now, TCU is fundamentally a quarters team, and so on some level they're often going to be bracketing the 2 receivers that we have here with the safety lined up to the inside and the cornerback lined up to the outside. If you want to attack this structure, then you need to find ways to control one of those defenders and eliminate that inside-outside bracket, and on this play we're going to do that by manipulating the cornerback with a simple high-low read. On this play, the inside receiver runs the high part of the concept. Remember that the safety will usually be playing the inside part of the bracket, and so here we're attacking that inside leverage by running this receiver on a corner route, which breaks away from the safety and toward the sidelines. We know that we can win this matchup based on alignment, but remember that we still have that cornerback lurking to the outside. If we want to throw to the sidelines like this, then we need to find a way to control him and take him out of the picture, and on this play we do this by having the outside receiver run a slant right at the sticks. If the cornerback sinks and stays outside of the corner route, then he won't be able to defend the slant, but if he stays on the slant as he does here, then he can't get under the corner. While this concept does put a high-low read on the cornerback, the fact that the underneath receiver is running a slant also contributes to the success of this play. When he stays on the slant like this, the cornerback has to chase it down inside, and this is going to pull him away from the sidelines and make it impossible for him to sink under the corner route. Notice that this concept doesn't require dominant wide receiver talent or 10 yards of separation. It works because the scheme does a nice job of controlling that cornerback. On the flip side, 2 of our interceptions came on passing concepts that failed to control the cornerback in this way. Here's one that came right at the end of the first half. Once again, we've got a high-low read on the cornerback, but notice that as we run the play forward, the outside receiver's running a hitch instead of a slant. Now, when you're a cornerback in a split safety coverage like this, one of the first things that they tell you is that if you see a short route like this, you should expect something deeper coming behind it, and so you need to defend 2 routes here. Your first route is to sink to take away the deep sidelines, and then you can rally late to the short throw when the quarterback's eyes and shoulders take you there. And that's all that this cornerback's doing here. He sees the hitch and sinks, and as he does so, Garbers doesn't read it and throws the ball right to him. And we can notice that if the cornerback isn't hearing this shot, then this is probably a 20-yard completion, but since we haven't done a good job of controlling that cornerback, it's an interception instead. Obviously, Garbers read this play badly, and that's where a lot of people's emphasis will stop, but let's come back to this frame right here. If this receiver's running a slant like he did on the previous play, then he probably pops open underneath this bailing strong safety and has a ton of room to run in the middle of the field. In that case, the cornerback would again be stuck in a bind between either running down inside with the slant or sinking under the corner route, and so while Garbers absolutely never should have made this throw, the play design wasn't effective and didn't give him good options to throw to. When we go back to Garbers' first interception of the game, we see that the issue was fundamentally the same. This time, instead of running a hitch in a corner, we're running an out and a go, but the route distribution is essentially the same, with a short threat in the flat and a deeper threat down the sidelines. As we just saw, when the cornerback gets an underneath threat in his flat, it's his job to sink underneath any potential deep sideline threat and then to rally to the underneath throw on the quarterback's eyes and shoulders, and once again, Garbers gets caught throwing over a cornerback that we haven't done enough to control. Now, to be fair, I know what Garbers is seeing here. He sees this cornerback jump forward a little bit and thinks that that gives him the read that he needs to make the throw behind him, but regardless of that, there's no way that this ball should be thrown against this look, and here's the important point. This is one of TCU's most common coverages. Our own defense runs a coverage that's essentially identical. We have at least one cornerback in Cameron Bynum who's good at playing this kind of stuff. We had more than 3 weeks to prepare. We decided to make attacking the sidelines a big part of the game plan. All of this means that this exact scenario should have showed up dozens of times in practice, and yet we rolled into Phoenix without a quarterback who could make the read. There's no way that these interceptions shouldn't have shown up in practice, and so either we didn't do a good enough job of repping these looks and so didn't anticipate the problem, or we knew that these reads would be risky and went with this game plan anyway. We'll need to do a lot better if we're going to see improvement on this kind of thing going forward. Alright, that's it for this season. For more bowl analysis, as well as lots of off-season content about our conference opponents and scheme in general, check out patreon.com/Burke18, but otherwise, have a great off-season and go Bears!